where he chairs the Subcommittee on Homeland Security. He also serves on the Subcommittee on Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development and related agencies, on Interior, Environment, and other related agencies. Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman David Price.
Thank you. Thank you, David, and good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you this morning on this slab of concrete, which you might say is both the end of the road and the beginning of the road. Also, we're at a juncture which, as our great director David Joyner has made clear, is also both the end of the process and the beginning of the process of developing our transportation future. We've come here today because of the work of many, many people over many, many years. And this is a promising new beginning of the way transportation is going to be done in the future, namely with a multiplicity of devices, funding devices, cooperative partnerships that are going to be more complicated than the way we've done it in the past, but I think also offer great promise. It does put some demands on us, though, some demands for ingenuity, for new thinking, and I'd like to think that this occasion here this morning does mark that, and in that sense, it's a real way forward. Although the future is going to be challenging for all of us as we continue to think of North Carolina as the good roads state, but also understand that that's going to mean something more complicated, more multimodal than it did in the past. So this is a significant occasion for us to reflect on where we've come and where we're going, and I think to celebrate the way our community has come together. Now, there are a lot of municipal and county officials here from Durham and Wake counties. I'm glad to see all of you. Particularly glad to see a couple of mayors who I think will be my witnesses this morning. Mayor John Byrne of Fuquay-Varina, Mayor Sears of Holly Springs. I think you can bear me out that I have not had a meeting in either community in the last 10 years where the topic of transportation down the 55 corridor wasn't brought up. It has been a front burner issue, an issue of great urgency, especially in this part of Wake County. First of all, the need to develop NC 55, to do the bypass, to do the various improvements there. But ultimately, we always knew to get the 540 Expressway extended around to this part of the county and to provide efficient transportation to the Triangle area from those communities. Now, we went through a long process of figuring out how to get this done, and the realities which David Joyner has I won't go through that again. Those realities bore down very, very heavily on us. We have in the past relied on one source of revenue mainly, almost exclusively for our highway building, namely the gas tax revenue. That has comprised about 90% of the money flowing into the Highway Trust Fund, and it's funded highway construction, safety programs, a lot of other things for many, many years. Now, there's some good news on that front. We are improving our efficiency, our vehicle efficiency. We're using public transportation more and on and on. But the downside of that, and of course also an effect of our economic downturn, is that our gas tax revenues are diminishing. And while 6 years ago when we passed the last transportation authorization bill, while it could just barely be squeezed in to the existing revenue sources, arguably it was squeezed too much. Now that's not even an option. Now the gas tax revenues simply aren't going to do the job, and we're going to have a tremendous challenge at the federal level as that reauthorization goes forward, either now or maybe 12, 18 months from now. We're going to have a tremendous challenge to figure out what the revenue sources are going to look like and how we're going to fund transportation in this country. This toll road option was not our first choice here, but we looked carefully at the options, and we came to the very firm conclusion that if we're going to build this road, we're going to not wait another 15 years to build this road, that this is our best option and we need to make it work. And that's a tribute to everybody here this morning. Many of you have been a part of this. I'm proud to say that the federal government is a partner in this. We're glad to have Administrator Mendez here. And Secretary Ray LaHood, an old friend from the House of Representatives, who's the new Transportation Secretary, got into the act as well. We discussed this very project in our appropriations hearings this year, and it's partly because of his personal efforts that we do have these favorable loan terms from the USDOT, the so-called TIFIA program, a $386 million loan that's a significant chunk of the funding here, with favorable terms, and terms that might actually become more favorable depending on our fiscal situation in the TIFIA funds at the end of this fiscal year. So we're grateful for federal participation in this and for the federal partnership. Secretary Gene Conti has been on top of this case from the very beginning and has helped us negotiate a funding package that I think makes a lot of sense, saves a lot of money, and will get this job done. So, as is usually the case with occasions like this, we celebrate partnership. We celebrate the participation of many public and private actors, people at all levels of government, who have come together to make something happen that I have to tell you, over the last few years, didn't always look so promising, didn't always look feasible. So I'm sure many of us have a sense of achievement today and a sense of promise. And so it is a time to pause and to celebrate, to think about where we've been and where we're going, and above all to resolve that we are going to keep ahead of the curve in our transportation needs. That we know that the Research Triangle in this area, in so many ways, the envy of the rest of the country, in so many ways, an economic success story. That this simply isn't going to be sustainable without a first-rate transportation system, and I'm firmly convinced that this road we're launching here today is a vital link in that bigger picture. Thank you for all you've done to bring us to this day.
Thank you, Congressman Price. We appreciate your being here, and we appreciate your support. It is my pleasure now to introduce our Federal Highway Administrator, Victor Mendez, who was formerly head of the Arizona DOT until he was confirmed, I believe, by the Senate just a few weeks ago. As the nation's top federal highway official, Administrator Mendez has a critical role in implementing American Reinvestment and Recovery Act law, the largest new investment in the nation's infrastructure in decades. He is also working closely with others at the department in securing reauthorization for the reauthorization of the surface transportation law, which Congressman Price just mentioned. Importantly, too, we would like to thank Mr. Mendez for his work in stepping up to help us with our TIFIA loan that made it possible to finance this project. Certainly, we do not need to remind him that we have 4 more projects in the pipeline that will be also looking for TIFIA loans, and they are very special, and we appreciate your consideration. So with that in mind, let's give him a warm North Carolina welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Director Joyner, and I do appreciate it. And I have to say, other than it's really a great day to be out here in Raleigh, and I'm sort of the outsider listening to everything that's been occurring here in the region, I really have to say that, what I've just heard from the previous speakers, you have a great partnership here. Being a former director in Arizona, we oftentimes, the only way to really accomplish things is working with others. And as I've heard and listened and really read up on the project, you have a great partnership, all the way from donating of property, land, all the way to everybody that's involved in this. And so I'm really proud and honored to be part of that partnership. So with that, I do say good morning. Good morning. Okay, thank you very much. It is a very great day for me to be here, as I just mentioned. As I've studied on the project, I've learned about the region and the issues that have occurred over the past 50 years, and I believe, Congressman, you